Good morning there, people. It's Johnny. So, welcome to my first video where I'm gonna review some mixes from the currently still running mixing contest. I'm sorry I didn't get to it sooner. I wanted to, but I was quite busy and exhausted. I'm still exhausted. Honestly, I don't really want to do this right now, but I gotta start at some point. So I haven't looked into the inbox of the Fortiori contest email yet, so yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure what to expect right now, how many mixes there are gonna be, yeah, so. Wow. Okay, those are a couple dozens. Almost about 50 entries here already. So, that's gonna be quite some work for me. So you still have time until the 15th of September, so it's still about 2 weeks. Yeah, next Saturday would be the last day for you to send in your entry. Interesting. So let's get to it. The first mix. Hang on, let me open this. NJ Pro Music. So let's check that one out. Okay, my very first reaction is, it sounds really cool how you put in this electronic kind of stuff that kind of adds a little bit more, but at this point right now, it sounds more like a remix, not like a mix of the song. But let's go on listening. Okay, first thing I notice, there's some weird harshness going on. I want to say somewhere in the 6 to 8K area. There's some weird spike in the drums. And also it feels quite squashed, like there's too much compression perhaps on your mix bus or something, just overall kind of squashed. But the balance overall seems to be kind of fine. So the balance between the instruments as well as EQ, except for that harsh spike going on. So let's go on listening. Oh yeah, you hear in the vocals, whenever he starts his line after a short pause, you hear how the compressor is letting through that initial signal and then it's ducking down. So there is some very aggressive compression going on. I kind of want to say too much. Yeah, and at this point, also the vocals are a little too low in the mix. Yeah, so let's just go on. Oh, we're getting loose, then we will be gone. what's going on with the guitars? Honestly, I can barely really make out what the guitars are doing in here. It's just so dense. There's too much going on. So what I'm gonna do now, put on my trusty headphones and check out the low end. At this part, I noticed something weird with the room mics on the drums. I think they're too high in the mix. You kind of notice it whenever the kick hits, you hear this wave of muddiness, and I suspect that's from the room mics. Let me check it with the monitors again. And again, the vocals seem to be too low in the mix, really. I mean, it's a hard rock kind of song, so you want to have the vocals on top, really, you know, pushing forward. Oh yeah, you hear it here when the final snare hits. There's this. The room mics are just overbearing, I think. It could be that it's the room mics. I'm about 90% sure. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I didn't okay, for the original I actually cut out the very final vocal parts where he goes that, you know, with the scream and everything, because I wanted to just let the groove really take over. Guess I forgot to take that out for these tracks here. Okay, sorry about that. It's all cool. What I noticed here at the very end, make sure you cut off the mix properly. You hear that crazy noise going on towards the end. Yeah, so it's also a part of mixing, making sure that the beginning really comes in at the right spot and that the end really fades out correctly. So that's also something you could just, you know, let your minds revolve around. Okay, so that was the first mix. Now, let's go on. Okay, this is from Daniel Thabit. This is interesting. He writes in his mail, we actually worked on with the same band at some point. So I was mixing the band's first EP and he was mixing the second EP. That's kind of cool. I hope you had a good experience with them. So let's go on with his mix. Okay, so first impression, pretty solid balance, so nothing to complain there. I kind of want to say there's something weird going on with the cymbals, like it's very low quality MP3. Let me check this out with the headphones. I could be wrong about that. Perhaps I'm just mishearing it. Perhaps it's just how the mix is. I don't really want to take that too much into consideration at this point. But what I noticed, low end is great. At least in my opinion. Come on. Also, I kind of want to say the vocals are a bit low in the mix. I mean, just to give you an idea, what I like to reference lately is Audioslave and Alter Bridge. So very alternative rock, you know, not full-on metal. You know what, let me listen to one or the other song from those so it's not, just to make sure it's not my ears. No. It's the mix. So yeah, also here make sure you get the balance between the instruments. Guitars could be a little bit lower, vocals could be a little bit more up front. Kind of interesting, the guitar tones feel a bit more modern core-ish. It's just, it's not good nor bad, it's just what it is. How did I get here? here you notice the rhythm guitars are too loud. They just, when they come in, they drown out kind of everything else. But I really like the drum mix. The kick drum is very thick, and it's not too over processed. It sounds still very natural. Here too, the reverb after the snare. Here we get to a point about mixing decisions, you know? So here is a little bit of more creativity involved. As you listen through the song, you gotta make your choices. How would you still put in little spices, little things to make it stand out more? What I, for example, like to do at this very spot is just cut off the reverb or anything that has too much of a tail. So that little pause after the snare gets more quiet, more silent. So when the chorus hits again, it hits that much harder by comparison. I hope you kind of understand what I mean. So, yeah, just a little side point. And here too, it kind of feels like it's really just the rhythm guitars that are too loud and kind of drown out everything else. Overall, I think it's a solid mix. It's just the rhythm guitars really that too much in there. So yeah, also here the ending, this is really just a matter of opinion. You know, you made the decision to give it that extra tail, which gives it a kind of more ethereal ending to the song. You can do that, of course. I personally am thinking there's more for a hard rockish kind of sound. So I personally would keep things a bit more dry, a bit more in your face, a bit more subdued. Nah, subdued is the wrong word. So if you listen to my mix and the ending, it's just everything goes it cuts off very short. It's just the overhead mics where you hear the cymbals fading out, but otherwise everything just stops. Kind of gives you this more intimate feel. It's right in your ears, and it all comes together towards the end. Also, at this point, I'm already kicking out some mixes where I do hear noticeable deficiencies, but that was a solid mix. I'm gonna keep that. So next one, Hunter Gaming. Let's take that out. you left out the lo-fi kick and snare in the intro, so I guess you didn't quite know what to make of those. Usually, you know, the name says it's lo-fi. I mean, still sent you the pretty much full-on dry tracks, but that's also one of those things again where the more creative side of mixing comes in. So you get these tracks that are not very processed, but they are there for a more specific purpose. And then it's your job as the mixer to kind of get there. So those tracks were called lo-fi. And if you listen to my mix, you also notice what I did with those. I really gave them a lo-fi effect and a big reverb. Just, you know, that's... But okay, you left them out. You can do that. You gotta think if that really helps the mix or not. So I would personally think it doesn't really help the mix because it makes the intro a little bit too monotonous. Okay, let's go on. Okay, it's a very scooped mix already. The tones sound more gentish, I kind of want to say. Again, one of those things you gotta ask yourself, does this tone, this kind of guitar tone, make sense for that kind of music? Let's go on. And the vocals are too loud. And the hi-hat is too loud. And there's something weird going on with the rhythm guitars at this point. The left side is louder than the right side. Let me check that with headphones. The vocals are also too bright and harsh, I kind of want to say. You could... Actually, the vocals here don't need a whole lot of EQ, but I don't want to talk about that too much because I don't want to give anybody else who still wants to submit a mix more of an advantage by giving them my tips, so to say. So I'll try to stick with this mix. The low end is actually pretty solid. I don't really have anything to complain about that. It's just it's all too bright and the mids are too scooped. Also, the snare kind of sounds too far back. So, but also snare can be kind of daunting to keep it really up front and smacking in your face without the peak, the transient going all crazy. But I have some tutorials for that. Okay, here, that cutoff after the snare was better than the mixes before. It's for just a short, and then bam, into the chorus. But I noticed no one so far really did anything interesting with the string scratches here. Again, really, being the mixer is you gotta balance some stuff. Okay, you gotta kind of listen to the music and make decisions that actually fit the music, that makes the music come to life, makes it what it is. At the same time, at some spots, you also are free to put in your own kind of creative spices here and there. You know, but still putting those in, you gotta make sure it actually fits the music, fits the song. Like the first mix I listened to now, the intro, there was a lot of electronic stuff going on, and gotta ask yourself, does that really fit the music? Okay, cool. So again, overall, a bit scooped, too bright. It's all a bit too bright, and the hi-hat also is too loud. But yeah, I hope I already gave you enough input at this point. I gotta keep going. There's so... What in the world? Ah, okay. I just noticed I started at the wrong point. So there are already 2 pages of entries. Overall, 66. Oh yeah. So I actually started somewhere in the middle instead of really at the beginning. Sorry about that, but it doesn't really matter. Everybody will get their butts kicked. So now really the first mix in here. Connor Wilson. See, here again, it's already in the name of the track, lo-fi kick and lo-fi snare. So, gotta ask yourself, okay, what do I do with that? Here, you kind of just left it dry, so, but let's go on. Okay, I like how it's hitting really hard, the drums are very punchy and come through very well. there's something going on with the rhythm guitars. Kind of sounds like, are they mono? I'm not sure. But the vocals are kind of a little bit grating, too bright and harsh, and pushing the bass compression or limiter or whatever you have on there too much. So yeah, gotta check your volume balance a little bit. Nice touch there with the vocal copying. It's,
Can't be shamed into serving the masses disease. Oh, we're getting loose.
The bass guitar has some ringing going on there at, what was it? Somewhere around 2K. I had the same problem. You, well, gotta make sure to process this in a way that it's not distracting, or that, yeah, you know what I mean. And here it's definitely very audible. That kind of spiking going on in the pick attack of the bass.
We will be completely unstoppable. Just wait, the time is coming soon for us to break out of this cage.
Ooh. There's definitely too much compression going on your mix. You notice how the volume kind of ducks down at this spot. There too. On master buses, when you do compression, use fast attacks. Probably the fastest attack you can set your compressor to. So that kind of stuff doesn't happen. The solo is too low in volume. You kind of want to think of it this way. The solo kind of takes up the same presence as the vocals. So there you have a good starting point to compare so you can actually make sure the solo stands out in the proper way. So try to make it stand out the same way the vocals stand out in the full mix. Alright, again, there's too much pumping going on. Alright, and now last mix for today. I'm guessing I'll be keeping up that kind of pace, 5 mixes per video. And whenever I have a little bit of time through the day, then I'll record a video. So, Don Bender. Ah, he reunited with Camper. Okay, gonna be interesting. Here too, again, make sure you cut the beginning in a proper way. That was about 45 seconds of nothing. Here too, with the intro drums, they are called lo-fi, so make something of it. There you do have the option to really do whatever you want. Just still, of course, that it fits into the context of the music. But anyways. At this point, I already like the guitar tones. The drums are a little bit weak in the mix. It could come up some more, especially the snare drum and the kick drum. Duh. Vocals are a little bit bright, meaning a little bit too bright. This is pretty cool. So the verse does sound like the energy is taken back a little bit. But some of the other mixes before, the tones, the guitar tones and the drum mix were just too overbearing that even the verse, where the energy is supposed to come down a little bit, is still too overbearing. So the vocals, yeah, you could try to EQ more of the body of the voice in theirs, and also get a bit more tonal definition in the vocals. Usually that's around, in my experience, 800 to 1.5K. You have some tonal definition, and the body of the voice, the chestiness, you have somewhere in the 200 hertz area, 100 to let's say 100 to 300. It's, you know, yeah, you get the point. But here in the vocals, there's too much breathiness going on, so they have a tough time to really add another layer of really energy to the song.
I'm running out of space as I pace back and forth in this blasted machine.
I think you have a little too little distortion going on. Either that or the gate is too hard. You notice that here in this little in-between part on the guitars. See how they cut off in a weird way.
Lion rests his head. The lion's almost dead. The lion can't be tamed, can't be shamed into serving the.
Okay. Again, wrong button. Usually on that button I turn the speakers on or off, but now I have the light and the camera also on the same power strip, so...
Massive disease. The gene. The lion rests his head. The lion's almost dead.
Yeah, there's too much honky mids going on in those clean guitars and the bass. So you kind of want to check that out, probably.
The lion can't be tamed, can't be shamed into serving the massive disease. Oh, we're getting loose. Then we will be completely unstoppable. Oh, just wait. The time is coming soon for us to break out of this cage.
Here also with the volume balance you could play around a little bit more. That upper layer, guitar layer, is a bit loud, and then the main riff that's beneath kind of gets drowned out a little bit too much. Yeah, there's too much mud going on in the bass guitar. I think it's the bass guitar that's just has too much 200 to 400. The octaving effect is kind of cool. Here also the solo is just too low compared to the vocals. Again, you kind of want to make sure the solo has the same presence as the vocals. Too loud. All right. So yeah, overall, not really any crazy deficiencies. It's just it needs some more tweaking. Like the bass could have more of a scooping going on in the honky mids. The drums could be a bit punchier. perhaps EQ it a little bit more, so it's not too dry sounding, and come up in the mix some more. And also the vocals, a little bit less high end, more tonal definition. It's all just kind of easy moves. Okay, there's not a whole lot wrong in that sense. It just needs a bit more time. That's all. Okay, that's it for this video. If I go on with this pace, I hope I won't be taking too long for this whole contest to get over. I mean, I think in October I got 2 weeks off, so there I'll have plenty of time to get through everything anyways. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I shall see you next time.